Central Minnesota Sports Hub. It's the Morning Sports Desk, presented by Wadena's Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade. Available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And streaming on YouTube.
Powered by Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena. This is the Morning Sports Desk. I'm CJ Baumgartner. There's Corey Tackman. A lot to talk about today on the show, including Milestone set in Henning, Wadena, Deer Creek, Perham, and more. And we also talk about Flores getting his new extension to be the Vikings defensive coordinator. The Wolves kind of in a free fall here. All that coming up on the show today, Corey. But first, this show is sponsored by the good folks at Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena. And Thursday night was wing night, huh?
Thursday night is wing night. We've talked about the large pepperoni pizza being the pizza of the month, but of course, daily events happening at the Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade. And yeah, Thursday night, wing night. We talk about it all the time. Those hot honey or honey hot wings are just unbelievable and are so good. So Thursday nights, if you're looking for something, don't forget about the wings, and they are completely and utterly legit as far as wings go. People, wings are tough, CJ. I think people get nervous about them because some places you go and it's like, this isn't just a wing. They gave me the whole, like, how big was this chicken? This is like an ostrich wing. They're enormous. And then you go other places and you're like, I got a yearling. And let me tell you what, the wings at Pizza Ranch are incredible. They're so, so good. So stop in, enjoy your favorite boneless or traditional wings. And they're right there on the buffet, along with their always delicious chicken, pizza, sides, and desserts. Check it out. Pizza Ranch, FunZone Arcade in beautiful downtown Wadena.
Okay, Corey, a busy night in high school sports last night. And I think there's a lot of different places we could go to like start this off and try and kind of recap everything. But I think we got to start right where you're at, the stuff that you were able to do. So with that, we are going to pull up the clip of the night.
With the school record and his cousin Ellie Dag. If it's a 3, he'll be the solo leader. Misegades to the top of the key. Gets a screen from Bierke. Step back, Hezzy down the lane, off the glass, and there it is. Kale Misegades with the field goal is now tied with his cousin. They're tying him with the school record.
There you go.
Yeah.
Kale Misegades, the all-time leading scorer in Henning Hornet basketball history, not just boys, but also with girls, and getting to pass his cousin. So that's a huge milestone, Corey, and just kind of set us up through the timeline of events with you yesterday and kind of setting up for that game.
So he came into the game with 2,243 points, 5 behind Ellie for a tie. If 5 points would have tied the all-time lead, 6 points would have given him the all-time lead. When I was talking to his head coach and father, Randy Misegades, before the game, he said, honestly, I don't even know if Kale knows that he's this close. He's like, I know. His mother knows. And I was like, so what's the deal? You got a couple screen pick and pop threes just to start the game to get it over with and see how it goes? And he's like, no, we'll just let the game kind of happen. And I don't think Kale had like a magnificent shooting night by any means. Now he finished with 28 points. He missed his first free throw and then made 14 straight free throws. He was 14 of 15 from the free throw line. So half of his 28 came from the free throw line. But he had 3 free throws, and then he got that play that we saw right there, and got around the edge for a right-handed layup, and that tied him with Ellie. And then, the next possession or two, whatever, he got his next bucket to surpass. So a neat moment. It's been a heck of a career. It's been a heck of a year for the senior, eclipsing the 2,000 point total, and now tying and now surpassing. So if my math was correct, he's up to 2,271 career points. The Hornets were supposed to have a game tonight with Bertha Hewitt, but as we know, the world is shut down today, or at least the state is shut down today. So we'll wait for that total to continue to rise. But, it was interesting in this. And then I do want to get your perspective too here, CJ. But in the pregame, I asked Randy, first as a coach and then as a dad, what's it been like to coach one of the premier players in the entire state? And he said, to paraphrase, he goes, it's been pretty special. Like, he's like, I think he's the best player in Class A. I'm biased, but that's what I think. He is one of the premier players in the entire state, especially having to go through the injury that he went through last year and how tough that was, not only for the team, but as a coach and then as his dad, to see your kid struggle and kind of persevere through it, the rewards that come with that. And then now to see all that hard work and effort kind of pay off. It's a pretty neat experience. And then you add that to the fact that he passes his cousin as the all-time leading scorer, which is a pretty kind of special family moment. I think you can clip onto this. And then they made a state tournament a year ago. And CJ, you are in fact also the cousin of the two top leading scorers. You get to call Kale at a state tournament game. Remember, he made the half court heave and at Concordia was it the fifth place game?
Revelation championship. Yeah.
This is it's pretty neat to be a part. It's one of the reasons I love high school sports. It's one of the reasons I love this area is because it's not just that Kale did this in a vacuum. It's that you look up and he passed his cousin and his dad is his coach and his cousin got to call his games at the state tournament. I love all the little spider webs that cling on to this. So from your perspective, as a radio broadcaster, getting to see someone as good as Kale play, because he's one of the best we'll ever see when it comes to boys basketball. He's one of the best, period. And then as a cousin, it's cool, man, to watch your family do stuff like this, right?
What a very nice way of saying you guys are all related around here. I just want to preface it with that. I know that's not what you're saying, but it's also what you're saying.
But it is what I'm saying. Yeah.
No, I mean, it's awesome, man. It's a really cool moment to get to see all that come through. And let me tell you that I guarantee you 100% that there will be some smack talk at a Sunday dinner sometime near you for those two with Kale and Ellie having that moment. And it's just really cool to get to see all of that. To get to see all that transpire and to get to see both of their careers. And I think you could say for both of them that they both could be and should have been 3,000 point scorers when it's all said and done. When you look at Kale missing almost all of last season, when you look at Ellie Dagg and the injury she had towards the end of her high school career and things like that, I think that
2 injuries in her varsity career.
Right, exactly. And so there were opportunities for both of them to be much better, but that's taking away statistically. I mean, statistically, yes, but I think overall, I think their impact is still felt no matter what. But biasly, it's just really cool. And I also would like to say, I'm so grateful that I could sacrifice all of my athletic ability because I have 0, and they got, probably what I should have gotten. So it all balances out. I'm thankful for my sacrifice. I'm glad that they got to have their moments. If we combine Ellie's and Kale's and my points together, man, the combination of 3 cousins, that'd be a lot. I would contribute about 15 points. But the rest of it, in totality, it's the Wayne Gretzky and his brother have the most goals ever scored by a pair of brothers ever. And Wayne Gretzky's brother had 1 goal in his entire NHL career. That's me. I'm glomming onto that. But overall, it's a really cool moment, and it's cool. And I know that means a lot to, you talk about the family. I know that means a lot to the family and to things like that. And to see that all transpire. And there's certainly going to be some smack talk the next time that those two see each other about that point total.
There's not a lot of families where you could say 3 cousins combined for over 4,500 points.
Yep. I'm just thankful to be a part of it. There's a lot of different cousins we could have chose from. I'm glad that I get to be a part of it.
Congratulations to Kale. He really is now on my list of local athletes, local boys basketball players. He is, if he's not number 1, he's right in the mix for number 1. Kale and Tate Olson and Bryce Ersfeld are the 3 local guys, local boys players, that is, that are right at the top of the list over the last, I'm closing in on 13 years here now to be able to watch those guys play. And that's just the boys. That's not including Ellie on the girls' side, Shania Glenn's from Verndale, any of the Ruttons in New York Mills, any of the girls, Alyssa Peterson in Monaga. Like, we are very blessed to be able to see some pretty prolific basketball players here in central Minnesota.
Yeah, and there's more basketball, by the way, to talk about when it comes to these moments. So let's talk about Payton Gravelle at Wadena Deer Creek. Girls basketball got her 1,000th career rebound over the course of the last week. And not only that, had her 1,000th career point on the early January in a game against DGF. So she's been a very important player for that Wadena Deer Creek girls basketball program, Corey. And for her to get to that 1,000th career rebound, just as telling as the 1,000 career points, because she has been doing a lot over the years for Wadena Deer Creek in a very successful period of girls basketball for them, and she's been a big reason why.
Yeah, 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks, about 2 weeks after the 1,000 points, she goes with the double whammy here and 1,000 rebounds, and she's going to be someone to keep an eye on because that 2,000 point is going to be in play.
Very much.
It's going to be in play for her. So that's a really special number to get there, and to even tease it is pretty impressive. So congratulations to Payton. Pretty stellar career so far. She's just a junior. We got one more year of this.
One more year. Some other history that happened over in Perham, and Cypress Teal had 48 points in a game last night for the Yellowjackets. It's a school record in a single game as they defeated Holly 96-49 on a doubleheader where the Yellowjacket girls also came away with a victory. So Cypress Teal coming away with 48 points, nearly hung up the 50 piece, but I think he'll take 48 in the school record.
All right, so a couple of things. First of all, that's the second school record we've had this week.
Mm-hmm.
Rocket Bertha Hewitt has the record. Maybe we're going to talk. I can't remember if we've talked about
that earlier in the week. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So a pretty unbelievable. Also, I was wondering for just like a brief moment, the last name. I was like, I wonder, is Cypress Willow's brother? And then they're both named after trees, and it has to be. It has to be. Right?
I'm just putting two and two together here. So yeah, I'm assuming, yeah.
It's a tree teal. They have to be related. Cypress, unbelievable stuff, my man. 48 points just in and of itself is ridiculous. And then you're in the record books forever and ever and ever.
Talking about family connections. What a family tree for the Teal family.
Oh, boo. Wait.
There we go. Okay. And by the way, not the only school record that was attained in Perham yesterday. Yellowjacket sophomore girls basketballer Reagan Hemberger was also red hot, tied her previous school record with 11 three-point field goals. So again, tied her previous record. She'd already had 11 three-pointers in a game. She did it again. And on top of that, the entire team made 18 threes, which was a school record.
Shout out to good shooting in that town, huh?
Yeah. And by the way, Perham, one of the top teams in 8AA. They are a monster again this year. And they went to state in 2024 and wouldn't be surprised if Coach Super and company are knocking on the door of that again this winter.
I tell you what, if you have a player who's going to make 11 threes in a game, I like your chances.
Very, very good. Very, very good.
Way to go, Reagan. That's pretty cool.
Awesome stuff. And again, just these records, these milestones, everything kind of keeps rolling on here. We see so much of this happen, and it's really cool to see all these athletes hit these milestones. And if we go to the mat for Wadena Deer Creek Wrestling, Hudson Hathaway getting to 50 wins.
Yay!
On the career is just a good milestone to hit, you know?
Another one. We've talked about milestones over and over and over again. If you get to put a 0 at the end of if it's points or if it's wins or if it's goals or if whatever it is, to tack on a 0 like that, like Hudson did, is pretty special. So way to go, man.
Yeah, exactly. Congrats to Hudson there on that milestone, and just really, really cool to see that all come together. So, all right, Corey, a lot of local stuff, a lot of great things happening. We don't have a game on our broadcast schedule tonight. We will have one on Monday. Pine River Bacchus at Browerville. Bet you $10 the Tigers win, and we'll have more on that on Monday's show.
Okay.
But Corey, let's turn. I'm excited to go see that Browerville gym, by the way, just as a quick aside.
It looks beautiful.
I may or may not have made sure to get a Browerville home game on the broadcast schedule for the selfish purpose of wanting to go broadcast a game in their new gym.
Looks great, man. Every video and picture I've seen of it looks spectacular. So I'm excited and jealous.
Yep. All right, let's talk about the Minnesota Vikings. Brian Flores getting a new contract as defensive coordinator of the team, something that we were kind of wondering about. And if you go back to clips earlier in the week, we are starting to cope already of well, do they even need Brian Flores? And then he signs the deal and we're like, oh, cool, Brian Flores is back. This defense is going to keep rolling. And I think overall, he can still be a head coach. He is interviewing with the Steelers. The Ravens just announced who their head coach. And basically, I don't think he's done interviews with anybody else but the Steelers. And I've heard the Steelers' interest is real, but the Steelers are also interviewing a million candidates. So it's hard to tell exactly if he'll get that job or not. But all signs really point to there's a good chance Brian Flores is back as the defensive coordinator of the Minnesota Vikings. There was a lot of huff and puff about Brian Flores. And I think, Corey, at the end of the day, with all these interviews, I think you could just play it. In hindsight, you can look back on it and say, yeah, guy's contract was up. He liked where he was at in Minnesota, but also he wanted to get a good deal. So you're going to go explore all options. And he did. And the Vikings at the end of the day gave him an offer he couldn't refuse. He's one of the highest paid, if not the highest paid defensive coordinator in the NFL now. And now we'll just see about the head coaching stuff. But bottom line is the Vikings get back their defensive coordinator.
Yeah, and I've seen a few points of discussion about this who are they're questioning the announcement. It's boy, isn't it weird that that we're making this announcement but there's this caveat that exists. And I guess I understand the point they're trying to make, except for the part where he's not the only coach where this caveat has been tacked on to, right? Former Miami head coach Mike McDaniel, he signed on to be whatever he signed on to with the Chargers, but he's got this caveat too, unless he's able to get an OC job, I think, or a head coaching job somewhere else. They're making these preliminary, yes, I will do this, but if I get a chance to be the OC, I want to be the OC. Okay, cool, fine. If I get a chance to be the head coach. So all of this is, we got to the finish line of the thing that we thought was going to happen anyway. If he gets a head coaching job, he's going to be the head coach. Otherwise, he's not going to really probably make a lateral move to be the defensive coordinator somewhere else. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's basically the biggest thing is, in all of this is if Brian Flores leaves to be a head coach, okay, that was fine. That's fine. You take a promotion. There's nothing you can do about that. Him leaving to be the Commanders defensive coordinator would have been very strange for a couple of reasons. One, it's Washington has a defensive minded head coach. So how much autonomy are you really getting to be defensive coordinator? And two, is that ownership group going to pay you like the Wilfs are paying to you? And that, I think, is the second part of this, right? Is the Wilfs once again prove that they will do just about everything they can to give the Minnesota Vikings an opportunity to compete year in and year out. And you can make critiques. Should they have done this here or there? Should they have done that? But it's all nitpicks. And after you watch the Buffalo Bills presser where their owner is basically just stepping on rakes left and right, and that ownership is if Josh Allen weren't there, is that team in a mess? But with the Wilfs, you just got to thank yourselves. And with the Minnesota sports fans knowing a certain other ownership group on the other side of downtown Minneapolis, it's just good to have an ownership group that will invest in the team and do what it needs to do to make sure that they have the resources necessary to compete.
Pretty simple. I couldn't add anything more to that. That's correct.
So this will be the other thing too, and this is for the Vikings projecting forward. There's still some things defensively that they're going to need to figure out, right? Assuming Harrison Smith retires, you're going to need to find another starting safety. And Harrison Smith had a lot of, again, Brian Flores had, in his defense was, I'm going to call a play, but that's basically just a template, because when you get to the line of scrimmage and they make a check, I fully expect you to check into a different play. And Harrison Smith was one of those people that would be checking. And some of the, there's a couple other players on this defense, but Harrison Smith had a very large influence because of his maturity and because of his experience and things like that. That's not easily replaceable, even if maybe the on-field quality started to slip. So you got to figure out that. You're going to need to figure out kind of interior, assuming you cut either Allen or Hargrave or a couple of those guys you brought in. There's still some things that need to get figured out. But overall, Brian Flores, I mean, his scouting background has helped out this team immensely in getting free agents and bringing in defensive players. So it'll be interesting to see how they go about just kind of making sure this defense can stay up, because the Vikings, if you look at the defenses of the top 4 teams that are still playing, not that the Vikings are number 1 by any stretch, but they are certainly of the caliber of the defenses that are still playing, or at least were playing in the last weekend of the playoffs. That's fair to say, right?
Yeah, I think they're yeah. Yeah, they were turns out they were good, and he was a huge primary part of this. I do want to, though, just to your point about like some of the decisions they have to make. This is the NFL, and like the whole world on the defensive side for this team is going to get restructured.
Mm-hmm.
Like, remember how they did that with Kurt for years? Like, how are they going to be able to afford anybody or anything, or make any room at all to even pay for draft picks? Well, you just move some money around. Like, right. So some of that is going to happen here too.
Yep. There'll be some extensions and some reconstructions, and like that, they'll get there. Yeah.
Right. And so like, and it's not just as black and white as like they need to find a free safety, because maybe it's Metellus who moves into that role. Or so, I don't know, just pick somebody who's already on the roster. Like maybe you need the strong safety, or maybe you need another linebacker, or what, like it's not just so black and white, like Harrison Smith is going to be gone and how important was he that we have to replace. Like that guy might already exist.
Yeah.
On the roster. So then you just, not that you're not going to have to replace somebody, but it's not necessarily dire.
Yeah.
It could be bad.
The bones of this defense are still going to be good.
Yeah.
You still have Jonathan Grenard. You still have Andrew Van Ginkel. You still have Dallas Turner has taken a nice, not giant step, but he took a very good step towards the second half of his second season to have the bones of a good defense.
Yeah. And their problem has been on the back end. So losing Harrison Smith is the thing that makes it scary here. But I don't know. I really am trying not to be the guy to be so dismissive about some of this stuff, but like
they'll figure it out.
To replace guys every single year, and it's not like we're replacing peak Harrison Smith. We're just not. That is disrespectful. I understand that. Harrison Smith is awesome. He's going right into the Ring of Honor. He probably should be a Hall of Famer. Replacing a guy like a worse version of Harrison Smith has been replacing a better version of Harrison Smith for the last 5 years now.
Yeah. So it'll all figure itself out. The other thing too is this is kind of the thing of like, you got the defensive coordinator back, pending he gets the head coach of the Steelers job, in which case we completely reset this entire conversation. Totally. But this is a thing that's where, all right, Kevin O'Connell, like the defense is going to be good. You know that. Like this is figure out the quarterback, whether it's McCarthy developing, whether it's bringing somebody else in. I don't care what it is. Like this is all on like, you better figure it out. Like Kale, like,
yep,
that's the question. Like it all falls into place on that. So, all right, Corey, we got a few minutes to wrap up the show. Wolves lost again, and again, just to a team that they shouldn't have lost to. Time to panic?
No, you got to stop asking me that question.
I ask it because I know your answer. I just sometimes want to see your level of like, why are you asking me that question? But like on a 1 through 10, like 10 is fire everybody and restart the organization. 1 is like, I'm not even going to dignify this with a response. What is your panic level?
I cannot freak out about a team losing 3 spots in the playoff race after a loss or 2 when all they have to do is win a game or two and they're back up where they were.
Yeah.
That's just how I'm sorry that's not a reasonable, good podcast hot take, but like if they win 2 games in a row, they're going to be back to 4th in the West.
They are currently a game and a half. They're currently a half game out of the 4 spot. They're 7th right now.
Right. So I just don't now, and they moved from I think 3rd to 6th with the previous loss.
Yep.
And now they dropped another game after this loss to Chicago. Yep. So I get it, but if you win 2 games in a row, you're right back to 4th. If you win 3 in a row, if you win 4 games in a row now, if you just get them back, you're the 3rd. You're right. 3rd West probably. I cannot allow myself to be the type of person who freaks out about this sort of thing.
You mentioned back-to-back wins, Corey. The Wolves tomorrow and Monday will play the Golden State Warriors, who just lost Jimmy Butler. So, and then they play the Dallas Mavericks, who are in a free fall, and then they play the Thunder at home. But then on January 31st, they play the Grizzlies in Memphis. So there's a very good chance that they could turn right back around and go 4 of 5, and then we all forget this. But remember, the NBA trade deadline is, I believe, on February 5th. So
sure.
It's a lot earlier than recent years. So that'll be, it's kind of crunch time now. If the Wolves are going to, it feels like this team, at the very least, you could say, maybe just needs a tiny little shakeup. So.
Well, please don't misconstrue anything I said as like being thrilled they're playing bad basketball, because they're not really playing good basketball like that. But I think that's a different conversation. You didn't ask me about that. You asked me if this is, I don't like that they're playing bad basketball, but they are a 2-game winning streak away from being the 4th seed. I just don't think it matters yet.
Right. Is at the end of the year, do we look and see that they missed avoiding the play-in by a game? Well, then, yeah, we'll look back and go, okay, this lot like that was, but like in the moment, freaking out about it isn't going to.
There's a lot of other things that will need to happen still that will be a bigger problem if they're in a play-in or if they don't make it or whatever. Like there's other things that will have happened that is bigger than a 4-game losing streak in January.
Exactly. All right, Corey, good show. Morning Sports Desk powered by Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena. Have a good weekend. We'll see you Monday.
Powered by Wadena's Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade. Follow the Morning Sports Desk on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And watch every show on YouTube.